So we got a 71 Chevy Nova in. It's a bit rough around the edges. The engine was a non-runner, had the wrong carburetor on it, so we put a second-hand manifold on it and a new 750 double pumper. We thought it was a 350 cubic inch, but it turned out to be a 305. So the 750 actually drowned it a bit, and we ended up putting a 600 CFM on it. Oh yeah, it had a HEI distributor on it, which wasn't working very well, so I took that out and put a Mallory in there. So we've done an oil change, refreshed all the water and everything, and we did actually manage to get it running, but there was no drive, and the transmission had water in the oil, so I had to drill a couple of holes in the torque converter to drain the oil out of it. It was all horrible inside there, so new filters and valve body out and clean it all out. It's a bit of a tidy up, new rocker covers, change the coil, a new air filter on it, and a bit of a wash down in the engine bay. Change the pulleys on the alternator and drive belt for a V-belt type. Changed the column shift to floor shift, put a B&M shifter in it. Got the gauges working. Changed the radiator, got a nice aluminium rad in there. Going to drill a hole in the handle on the shifter for a line lock button. So the interior is pretty basic, no carpets, no door cards, and a couple of bucket seats just thrown in there. We put a set of bonnet pins on it. There's the shifter complete, with the button installed, ready for the line lock to be fitted. We popped the windscreen out because it was leaking, so windscreen out, clean it all up, new seal, and that was it, ready for the road. Do a first road test. Still having problems with the gears shifting, so dropped the pan again on the transmission, and it's still got the milky oil in there, so a bit more of a strip out in situ. And while I was at it, we bought a B&M shifter kit, so hope it help improve the shifting pattern a little bit better, but really difficult to clean in situ, so we've done the best we could with it really. That's a new shift kit going in, all clean. Had a quick look inside the diff to see what ratios we've got, and it's a 273 gear ratio, but it is a locker diff, so at least that's something. Put nice Flowmaster pipes on there, 2.5 inch bore, a bit of a tune up now with the 600 CFM carb on it. Car was taken to a show, rock and ribs, taken off the road, stripped down for full rebuild. So that's the old motor out and a new one being built. It will be a 383 stroker going back in. All the front suspension, everything will be rebuilt, new poly bushes, subframe out. There's a few issues on the subframe that we needed to sort out, but that will be shown in the next videos. So this is another rear axle. We replaced the 10 bolt with a 12 bolt, and it come with a spool in it, but we don't want a spool, so that's going to come out. And it's also narrowed by 2 inches, this axle. So that's the one going back in, so it gives us a bit of space to tub the rear arches out, so we can put some wider rear wheels on it. It's got 373 gears in this one.
Is that good?
Yeah, better. It's got 38 there, but I know it's something like 373. A better gear ratio. Just doing measurements here to see what we end up with when it's in situ. So I'll just put a measuring bar in there, just with some dimensions and stuff on it to see what difference there are between the two axles before I started. Bigger spline shafts going in, so we've got 30 spline, I think they're 31 actually, rather than the 28 that was in there.
What difference does that make?
Well, this is stronger, so this is a bit thicker as well, so just take a bit more power.
Right.
Well, yeah, measuring bar, just to get all dimensions of what I got, and on the actual bar, I've put the dimensions of the axle going in, so I can see the difference where the leaf spring's going to sit and everything. And it's not going to work with these leaf springs that are in here. It's going to be more narrow. So front subframe out, and we found a few gremlins actually when we took that out. Some of the mounting points were actually worn right through. Instead of going through a bolt hole going through a small hole, the whole bush was actually free floating in there, so it was only fixed in it's supposed to be fixed in 4 positions, only fixed in 3 positions, so a bit scary really considering we used the car. So that's some of the parts, suspension parts already sandblasted and refurbed. That's a subframe. Well, no, it needs repairing, so getting washed and see what we got. I think it was a little bit twisted as well, so I'll straighten that out. Bare. So that's the bulkhead. Bulkhead wasn't great either, quite a bit of rust and big old chopped out where they changed heaters and stuff, so some thoughts needed to go into what we're going to do with that. So you can see the little plate that's on the floor there, there's a big hole in it, it should just have a small one, so we cut a section out and weld a new piece in to repair that. And it had a little bit of a twist in it, so we put a bit of heat in it and try to straighten it out a bit. So we changed the old stock engine mounts and put some more solid polybush style ones in there, so chop the old mounts off and new ones going on. So there's a new engine mounts going onto the subframe. Obviously it's easier to do with the subframe in position, and we just used a mock-up engine to do this, or engine block. You can see the repair there on the mounting point. That's what hole it should have in it, rather than that great big hole that was where the whole bush fell through it before. We added some extra welds too to the subframe from the factory welds, just to stiffen it up a bit. Transmission out just to clean up before we put it back in. So this is a TH350. Probably will put a different box in at a later date, but try and reuse this one for now. So some welding going on in the lower bulkhead and sill area. Quite a bit cut out of the bulkhead. We're going to do a lot of work on there and replace that. New steel going into the bulkhead and a bit of a smoother look, cleaner look. We scalloped the centre out as well, so the distributor is really close to the bulkhead on these, so we scalloped a section out in the middle there, so it's got a better access for the distributor when the engine's all back in, and a new master cylinder going in there. Bit of a better style, better type master cylinder. So I didn't like the look of the wiper motor sticking out in the engine bay, so we just want to have a clean look when you lift the bonnet, so we're going to hide the wiper motor inside this section in here, so it's all nicely tucked away. That's the welding pretty much complete on the bulkhead, and a bit of primer just to protect it for now. So going on the clean look, we wanted to hang the alternator down low on the engine, so we're going to scallop a section out here, so we've got some more room for the alternator to sit in.